everyone. Everybody's so excited to do vision boards. I'm so excited. I can feel the energy here tonight. I will try not to cough again so Joe doesn't hear that. Again, my name is Aimee Hoch, and I am originally from New Jersey, and I am very grateful to be asked to speak here tonight. This is something that's a passion of mine to, create a vision for my life. A few years ago, I lost that, but it emerged again, and so I like to share that with everyone and help other people do the same. So like I said, I'm from New Jersey originally, and I had pretty much a typical childhood growing up in the 80s, the big hair and the 40 pairs of socks, right? We all had like multiple socks. And really it was pretty typical. The one thing that stood out to me that's like a pivotal moment in my childhood, in my teen years, is in going into 11th grade, I went to the guidance counselor and I said, I need something different here. It's a little boring here at high school. And I asked him what I could do. Can I go to private school for a year? I just wanted a new experience. So he suggested that I apply to be a Rotary Youth Exchange student. So I did. And in 1988, I went to New Zealand and lived there for a year. This was before cell phones. I was writing letters to my parents. I barely got to talk to them, but it was probably the best experience that I've ever had. So I had a vision then, I bring that up because it is on my vision board, and we'll talk about why you want to have a picture of yourself during a happy or proud time on your vision board. So I do have myself there, 16 in New Zealand. So I can always remember that I just took a leap at that time. Fast forward a little bit, I'm married, and I have two daughters, and they are 15 and 9. And I have a degree in social work. I moved here about 15 years ago from New Jersey, and at that time, my daughter was about 6 months old. I was in the middle of my master's program at Fordham, and I didn't want to give up all those credits. I was like, how am I going to go from Pennsylvania to Manhattan? I moved into the Saturday program for my MSW. It's 60 credits long, and I had about 20 in so far, so I was not going to lose those 20 credits. I drove every Saturday from Souderton to Manhattan to finish my master's degree. It was kind of like my mom's day out. Oh, thank you. So it was really like my mom's day out because I was home with my daughter at that time, and I was with her 24/7, so it was a nice day out for myself, something that I did for me. I also have a background working in mental health when I was in New Jersey, both in the fields, in leadership, and then did a lot of training toward the end of my kind of career there before moving here. When my daughter was about one and a half, I was encouraged to check out Grandview Hospital. My neighbor was a social worker for hospice, and she recommended me for a position there. And it was part-time. It was kind of good. I could get out of the house at the time. So I probably worked on every floor in the hospital because I always have to create new opportunities for myself. I cross-trained myself all over the place. So then after the birth of my second daughter, I had a health issue that I kind of powered through and got through, and just went back to momming, right back, took care of everything I needed to do, right back to taking care of my girls. I was getting kind of tired, exhausted at the time. I was a case manager in the ER at Grandview. And so for 6 years I did that, working kind of in crisis mode a lot, working weekends, and missing time with my girls and my husband at home. So at that time I was tired, exhausted, not getting a lot of sleep, just not feeling myself. It was really like I was kind of getting through my day, just kind of trudging through. A nurse that I work with there introduced me to a product that helped me. It's a plant-based nutritional product that helped me tremendously. I was sleeping better again. I was more present in my life again with my children and my husband. I say that now looking back, that time period from 3 o'clock in the afternoon until 9, when my girls would get home and I had to, it was like a whole new day starts at that time. You know, we're cooking and homework and driving places, and 9 o'clock could not get, you know, there soon enough for me. And I felt guilty thinking that at the time, but I think it's so important to share that because there's so many other women that are feeling the same way. So because I started feeling better, again, I was more present in my life. I started to enjoy that time with them. I wasn't tired anymore. I wasn't living on cups and cups of coffee to get through it. And there was just a huge change for me. So at that time, I had created an opportunity for myself to leave the ER and go part-time and create a position in the oncology program at the hospital. But I still do that part-time, and at the same time, I launched a business with the company, with Le-Vel.com, the maker of the product that helped me so much. So I knew that I could help a lot of people with this because I knew there were a lot of women that were feeling the same way. And also, I was kind of, just before that, kind of lacking a little bit of purpose in my life, you know, some vision. So here we are tonight to talk about, you know, how to take that and move forward and create a vision for your, not just a business that you might be starting, but also your life. So that's kind of a little bit about my story. Now we're going to get started with our vision boards. I know everybody's excited to do that. So let me just grab a drink of water here. So a vision board is a tool that you can use for visualization to kind of help clarify, choose, and focus on a vision you have for your life. It's creating a space to display that and what you want to then attract into your life. So everything that's going to be on your vision board tonight is, you can get started because we have a shorter period of time tonight, but at least we'll kind of get started on it. You can add to it when you get home. We're not going to do any of the pre-work that you usually do beforehand. So if you're not really clear on your vision, you sometimes will write down, you know, different areas of your life. It could be finances, it could be health, it could be relationships. So if you're at that spot where you're not really sure what your vision is, you can flip over your little piece of paper and kind of take a little mental inventory and write down some areas in your life that you'd like to have, you know, a new vision for. Some of them, again, can be family, personal growth, travel. So your vision board can be reflective of your overall life. It can be all areas, and I'll pick mine up here. I use a cork board because I can change things on here. No, I'm going to talk a little bit, yeah. Or you can make a miniature one that's more focused on a certain area of your life. So if tonight you want to, you know, create a small one of everything, of all areas of your life, you can, or pick an area that this is just kind of a miniature vision board for you. Who's familiar with the book, The Secret and the Law of Attraction? It's an awesome book. And so you may have heard where your energy flows, your attention goes, what you focus on expands, setting an intention and placing your attention on that. And that is, we create the vision board, but there's another piece to it that is really important, and that is attracting all the things that you put on that vision board into your life. So we can create one, and you know, the first year that I made one, it was on a big poster board, And I brought it home, and it was in my dining room for a while, and I just had to think about where I was going to put it. And then it got buried. It got buried, it went into my bedroom, it moved around the house, and I really wasn't practicing. It wasn't helping me, you know. So it's really important to have it in a spot where you can see it every day to attract in everything that you put on there. So it's a display of images, words, items that represent what we want to be, do, or have. It helps you visualize your ideal life on a regular basis, and it exercises the power of choice. I think that's really, really important. So before we get started, here's a few things to consider, because I get a lot of questions. What do you put on your vision board? You know, how do you get started? So the first thing is there are no rules. There's no right or wrong. This is your board, and that's important to remember. How often do you create one? So typically people will create one at the end of December or early January for the new year, but you can also, you know, kind of refresh yours. I changed mine recently. I left everything underneath it. Sorry. Under here were actually more goals that I wanted to have in my business. And you really want to create a feeling rather than specific goals and how you're going to get there. You want to leave that aside and really create a feeling that you get when you look at these different images. Oh, a little cork board all over me. You want to put what is true to you and not what others want for you.
You're really attracting the vision board.
I'm attracting it all. It's like a magnet. The other thing is you want to avoid clutter, because when you practice the visualization piece, you want to have some space around each of the items. Oh. So if it's too cluttered, it's harder to focus on the different areas. A photo of yourself is important. If you have one, you can add it to it later. But here is my picture of myself in New Zealand with two friends that were from other countries that I met and I'm still in touch with today. So that was, like I said, a very pivotal moment in my life and something that I'm proud of that keeps me, I always say, back to 88. Like when I kind of am doubting myself in an area, I say, get back to 88. And it reminds me to just leap, you know, and the net will appear. You can also include things that you want to continue in your life. So right now, whatever you're happy about in your life, whatever you have going on that is a positive thing that you want to continue, you can include that too. And I actually have this star here. It was from a retreat that I was a part of and spoke at. Heidi was there too. And this was part of an exercise that I taught about goal setting. But it does remind me, the retreat had to do with getting over your fear. And we were ziplining and all sorts of crazy stuff I never thought I would do. And it took every ounce of my being to get through it. Like every cell of my body. I was exhausted and finally like overcame big things and went flying through the air. So I like to remember that feeling that I had there. So you don't want to focus on the how. And again, like my first vision board, I had some steps and goals underneath that word impact and say yes. And you don't want to focus on the how. You don't want to be worried about that. And again, no overthinking, and we just want to have some fun with this tonight. You also, again, want to focus on how you want to feel and not just what you want. So when you look at these images, like this beach here, this represents having an entire summer at the beach with my family, like being able to live there, work from there, having time freedom is important to me. So you want to, focus on things that you get a feeling from. Because the language of the universe is emotion, and that's why we want to focus on that. So we can get started with our vision boards. As we're wrapping up, and I hope somebody have kind of like a time. Okay. How long do I have? Okay. Oh, great. So before we leave here tonight, I think the most important part is at the end of this, because like I said, you can create one, but then what do you do with it and how do you make it work for you? So I'll go over how to do that before we leave. So I want you to keep working on them. And you can also bring like some of the magazines home. If you have things that need to be glued on, bring them home with you. But I thought I would continue to talk a little bit as you continue to work. And I want to just reiterate what Karen said. If you don't have your own dream and your own vision, we do start working towards somebody else's. So it's really important to believe that everything that you have on your vision board, you are worth and you deserve to have in your life. I think that's another key part of everything that you want to attract into your life. This is a passion of mine to help. As I was building my business, it doesn't always go like, woo, right? You have ups and downs, right? Just like in life, you have ups and downs in your business, in your life. And I learned a lot through that process. So as I started creating a vision for myself and my life, I was learning and I started teaching what I was learning. I took my message onto Facebook Live, and that's kind of where it started. And the reason I bring this up is because I just started walking towards my vision. And it took me 4 hours to press the live button the first time. I was in my house. I had the perfect spot, look the perfect way. And that's not what live is about at all. You have to be yourself and just kind of in the raw. So I bring that up because I just started walking towards my vision. And from doing that, I was asked to speak, to do a course like through Zoom for someone about overcoming your fear, because my first live was about overcoming your fear. And then what happened was I was invited to a retreat to speak about overcoming your fear in New York State. Later that year, this is all in the last year and a half, I went to Florida to another retreat to speak about goal setting. And actually, the keynote speaker got stuck in the storm, that big storm that we had in January. And I stepped in. I didn't really know. I wasn't prepared for it. But again, you have to start walking towards your vision. Sometimes you don't know how, but when it feels right to you, just keep walking towards it. So it's important. I noticed, all the struggles that I went through, all the things you learn when you're building your life, your business. And I noticed other women around me were doing the same. So a lot of the messages and videos that I do are about overcoming your fear, having a vision, just having a purpose in your life. And I think that we all have a purpose and that we don't always know what that is, or just kind of forget that we're here on this earth to do something great. So that's why I was very excited to be here tonight to do this. I want to talk about a few key things about attracting what you have on your vision board into your life. I think these are the most important things. And then if anybody would like to come up and share what they created, that would be awesome. So Here's a few key things I want you to take with you tonight. Remember, you want to place your vision board in a spot that is in your focus. You know, it could be somewhere in your home or your office that you will see every single day. It's important to not put it away because you actually have to work to attract what's on there into your life. You want to, by having it in a spot that you see all the time, you start doing daily visualization activities and you don't even realize it because you're focusing on your board. You want to take a few minutes each day to practice the visualization of your board and look at the different areas that are on the board and not just look at them, but you want to use your senses. So for instance, with the beach, you really want to like feel how it feels to be there, how it smells there, what the weather is like. You want to really use that emotion and your senses to focus on that. You have to see it, believe it, and move in the direction of it. And start saying yes to things. Some things are scary and you're not really sure where it's going to lead you, but it's important to start saying yes to things. It's important I have that on my board. So we all know that I'm a little obsessed actually with podcasts lately. I don't know how I get to fit them in, but I do. But one that was on the other day by James Wedmore, he said, don't dabble in this. This is your life, so don't just dabble in it. And don't worry about it coming into your life. So you want to let go of worry as well. And it, like I said, just keep walking towards it. It's important to have gratitude at the same time that you're working on this. Because what happens is you start opening up space for more good things to come into your life when you're recognizing all the wonderful things that you have. This is probably the most important piece. You want to act as if. You want to be the you that already has all of this in your life. You want to think about the values that you have as that person, as that you. You want to picture yourself having all of this. You want to think about your beliefs, behaviors, and thoughts, and your actions. What do I look like as the person that has all of this in my life? Be that girl. So, does anybody have any questions? Well, would anybody like to come up and share their vision board? Come on up. We have to. Oh, that's awesome.
So I have a butt on mine because I'm in physical therapy for many things right now, although I don't look like I am. And the last couple of months I've been doing a lot of hip and butt stuff to strengthen. So being strong is really important to me, and my friends have a running joke, and the physical therapist has too, about strong butt is a strong life.
I love it.
I have that. And I have a Viking guy, because, you know, he looks kind of tough, although he was holding food, so you know he was cooking. Then I got a little person up here doing squats, because I do them. I also have the word simple. I cut that out, because I really enjoy the simple things in life, and I know that's different things for everybody, but that means something to me. And I also cut out real people, because for me, I like to keep it as real as possible. I like to be able to be open with people, but I also appreciate people who can be real with me. And I have a cat in the top right corner because I'm really working on putting my life together again after various surgeries and a lot of physical therapy, and that's my end goal. That means I've gotten to a good place, better place.
That's
So,
awesome.
That's it.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to come up and share theirs? Maybe we have time for one more. Nobody's ready? Okay. Let's do it.
Enough space. 'Cause
Yeah, you
don't
have
know
enough
what's-
space.
I don't know what's happening. I wanted this to stick off the side though because I wrote beauty on each of the petals because there's so much beauty around us and I want to be appreciative of all that we have. Think about the women who might be meeting tonight in India. They're not doing what we're doing. They don't have what we have. You know,
That's-
there's many
that's
places
right.
like one thing about that. This is a lectern because I want to value my past. I am a teacher. That's why I don't ever mind standing up in front of everybody and start blabbing. And I have an escape plan, things I'm planning to do. I'm trying to teach myself
love
Hindi
that.
right now. I have 2 books, not just one, but 2, so I can learn to speak Hindi because I want to go to India and go to the cities and go to an ashram that's way up in the north. So I decided I'm going to learn to speak the language. And again, I guess I just never met a tree I didn't like. That's all.
Oh, I love
You know,
that.
beauty, it's all around us.
Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you.